Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman and these are the market positions for October the 25th, 2017. Now our first trade for tonight is going to be in the Forex market. We're looking at the Euro-US currency pair. Now this pair has been very choppy. We're largely just playing a range between 118.50 and about the 116.60 area. Now we have a fairly tight wedge forming here. We've got a fresh triple EMA cross from VantagePoint to the downside. Our neural index is down. We are holding below the zero line on the predicted MACD, which I'll highlight right here for everybody to see. Now, the predicted predicted RSI, is a bit of a concern. We need to break through this 40 level if we're going to see any kind of momentum. Now, the 18-day is coming in. Our critical pivot area 117.91, followed by 117.78 and 117.63. So between all of these levels up here, we have significant resistance building, and of course this trend line that I've drawn in at about the 118.50. Now, all stops on this trade should be above 118.50 minimum, but in my respectful opinion, they should be above 119. We should be lowering position sizes and building them in here, waiting for a break of this particular area right here. Now, once again, when we look at those individual crossovers to see if we can assist with directional moves, our short term is down, our medium term down, and our long term is turning back to the downside. Now, again, in my respectful opinion, there is a lot of activity around this 117.83, 117.77. We need the market to hold below this level and allow this long-term crossover to complete. So from here, guys, we go into the daily report to fine-tune tomorrow's entry point. Now, the Euro-US currency has been very stubborn in 2017. A number of market analysts are saying that this is supposed to be at parity, but we can see that it is not. The Euro is actually has a pretty bullish year. So again, in my respectful opinion, shorts are counter trend to the bigger picture. So when we look at our daily report tomorrow with that close of 117.43, we're looking for a move up to 117.85. We are then going to target 117.14. But if we can break through this trend line area right where we are right now, where we're essentially closing below this trend line, it should open the door up to a move back into this 117. But if we get down here, we still have formidable support at about 116.50. So be careful of those particular levels. And again, keeping our stops above 118.50 is a very reasonable play. Now, our second trade for tonight is going to be again in the US technology sector. We're looking at the Apple stock, the APPL. Now, when we look at this particular stock, we can see that we have momentum starting to build actually back to the upside. Now, to be clear, I am not an Apple fan whatsoever in their products, but when we look at trading opportunities, we do want to take note of certain things. Our key VantagePoint 18-day predicted moving average, 157.04. We're closing 157.10, just above this critical level. Our triple EMA cross is starting to turn back to the upside, and we have very significant trend line support coming in at 156. So I don't want a big stop on this particular trade, but I do see that we could have some short-term buying opportunity. Now, the position of the predicted MACD firmly holding above the zero line also has my attention, and the fact that we were unable to break below the 40 level on the predicted RSI, and now we've recovered to 55.1. All of which are suggesting that Apple is getting ready to make a push, potentially back up towards this upper trend line at $160 per share. So it's good to have lower targets and upper targets for both price entry and exit, stops, etc. So when I break this down and start looking at the individual crossovers here, we can see that our short-term crossover is actually turning back to the upside. The short-term indicators from VantagePoint are starting to turn around. Our medium-term crossover is very conflicted at the 157.39 area. When we look at our long-term crossover, and the case in point that I'll make here is that the long-term crossover is very difficult to trick, and its buy signal actually formed back here. So we have yet to cross back to the downside, and we've got this corrective move may very well be complete. Now, this is going to be a very volatile trade with this particular stock and this company, respecting the fact there aren't a lot of whole new products coming out, but we don't want to get too wrapped up in the fundamentals. If the market decides that they want to sell Apple, they're going to sell it, and if they decide they're going to buy it, then they're going to buy it. So we look at the 30 other markets correlated here in the VantagePoint software to see if we can get a leading indicator, and I believe we are seeing that in the predicted MACD and the predicted RSI. On the big move lower in Apple, we didn't break below that 40 level on the predicted RSI, and now we're recovering. So we could see this move higher. Now, from here in normal trade with a close of 157.10, we're looking to trade this daily range. So for tomorrow, we're looking for a minor pullback to 156.57. We're then going to target 157.80 on an intraday basis. So again, if we can push and get this thing moving, we should at least be able to get 160 on the upside. But if we can get through this area also, very good possibility that we can start moving back up towards this 163, 164 area in the days and weeks ahead. But for stops here, guys, two areas that we can look at putting our stops here. One is directly below this current trend line at 156, which I believe to be a little bit tight, or we have this more broader stop area, which would be down around 152. Depending on the size of your position and your risk appetite, always make sure you're calculating that on a per account basis.